and welcome to Zero to Hero part 15. I was originally putting this series on hiatus until Silver 9 started, and we were going to start with a brand new hero in that, and that would be our first genuine hero on the account. Since that is delayed for now, what I did was my intentions to go into that Silver 9 ANB event with about 1800 to 2000 gems. So since I had 1000 come through from last season finishing, I've opened up another stash spot. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then, because it's going to be at least another 5 days before we see any chance of Silver 9, and I think it's going to be longer than that, because I think the beta test is going to drop next week or during this week, and then that needs all critical bugs fixing before we're going to see Silver 9. So what I have done on the character, since it was 450 gems, was open up the third ability slot, because I thought, well, I'm going to be playing with this character a bit more than I originally intended. So that's what I have done there, which makes things run a bit easier. As far as the build goes, it's a bit of a mishmash. Potentially something that might be used in ANB, I'm not sure yet. As far as recipes go, I can craft 4 pieces of ELR armour. So I've got the helmet, shoulders, pants and boots, which is good because it gives me the 4-piece bonus for Elemental Fury, so I can increase damage up to 96% with full stacks and get damage reduction of about 62.3% roughly from that, which is a big help. Obviously with a critical build, but I'm on epics mostly. I've still gone with haste, ability rate, experience mostly across the board. There is some critical rating and critical damage on the jewellery. I did add it to the shoulders as well. I'll skip a few items for now. Wind Spirit I put crit rating, crit damage on, and then I think everything else is haste, ability rate, experience, haste, ability rate, experience, haste, ability rate, experience, movement speed, ability rate, experience, movement speed, ability rate, experience. I do have both recipes for GMC weapons, which is good. Again, haste, ability rate, experience, haste, ability rate, experience there. But we're on a crit build, and we are obviously lacking critical rating and critical damage, which is why I've kept going with a Carnival Cape for now. So every 60 attacks or so we get an extra 500 critical rating, which helps push that up a little bit. And it then left me a choice: how else can I push up crit rating on the account or on the character without having legendaries? So 2-piece apprentice or 2 pieces of adventurers give you an extra 210 crit rating. So I've done that. I'd like, if possible, to get a ELR chest, because that will give us a longer northern wind duration. But I've got a apprentice robe and apprentice arm guard, so those are giving us some extra critical rating. I've hit champion level 702, so everything from here on in goes in on the offense tab. The way that I filled these out originally is I maxed out haste first on offense, then I went with crit rating, and now I'm working on crit damage. On the defence, I started with life, then armour, life on hit and life regen. And utility, I went all in on ability rate to start with. Then I went for experience, although if I was gold farming I could easily change that out and switch it into gold, since we can do that at any time. So ability rate, then experience, sometimes switching with gold, but once that one was filled I then went to movement speed and then finishing off with gold. So in terms of stats, that does give us a 30% crit rating. Crit damage is going to top out at the moment once we've got another 50 champion levels at sort of about 882.8% extra damage. Hits per second 4.8, nothing to write home about. I'm mostly playing a character on mobile. Ability rating 1591, and experience is in a position where I could run with a booster, but I'd rather do that on a fully unlocked character with all the skills and during a war supplies event. I'm focusing at the moment on getting a bit more synergy as well, so all the low level skills are just getting upgraded as we go along. Since I'm playing mobile mostly, I've been running sort of 1255 to 60, either 55 or 60. Let's have a look at 60 on PC. It should be faster than it goes on mobile. I can probably round up quite a few of these. Actually, let's make a use of that Talisman of Storms while it was there. Now we've got the Carnival Cape briefly working. Just let things channel into that beam. So I'm trying to keep my elemental fury as high as possible, obviously without a huge amount of ability rate. We do have to wait a bit for cooldowns, but not too long, thankfully. This is looking like we need to pull in quite a few more mobs. That will be enough. Because we've got the Frostfire Sash, it does help. It should kill Kara when we do that. Shatter's doing quite a bit of damage. Wind Spirit does quite a lot of damage. Frostbeam isn't doing anywhere near as much as you'd expect at this stage, but that's because we're running relatively low trials, and at the moment it's other things that are doing the damage for us. That will change when we get to more stronger heroes. If I drop out of there for a moment. So in the back of my mind, that is similar to the sort of build I was thinking about for ANB Silver 9. I don't know with the delay whether I'm going to be able to craft a full set of ELR gear or not. Now I know there are the ephemeral armor cubes or ephemeral gear cubes in there, so yes, I could go straight out and get an epic ELR set immediately, but possibly I might want to do something different or hold some back in reserve for some sort of push gear. So I haven't fully planned out what I'm going to do yet, and I still need to see what sort of recipes are going to come along. And then yesterday running, I think Troll 55, I think it was, this character's build gets to change significantly. What I'm doing with troll drops, actually I'll explain that in a moment. Let's just put that away for now. Out of Troll 55, this fire lily dropped. That makes this character much easier to play with all its limits. I've even had a Frostbeam Bracer. I've had a few of these drop now. But again, I'm not going to use that at all. But it's just there in case I want to try a higher troll at some stage. Perhaps for the season reward, see if this can push troll 100. But with these items suddenly, or with this appearing, then a number of items are no longer needed. So I can get rid of Talisman of Storms, replace that with Fire Lily. We had crit rating and crit damage on the Wind Spirit, so replace that with experience, frost damage and haste. Again, shoulders were crit rate and crit damage experience, so let's replace those with haste ability rate and experience. And the Carnival Cape, it's given a bonus 500 crit rating. Well, that doesn't do anything for us anymore, so I was just crafting a regular cape and it turned into a legendary, so dodge rating wasn't intended, but it came on. So the character's still got some useless crit rating and crit damage on the rings and necklaces, but suddenly it's a whole lot stronger. I can switch the offense build to haste and suddenly 153 power going in. And what that has allowed me to do, let's just make sure we've got the build correct. I think that's what I was doing. Again, the crit rating now from the apprentice items is useless. But now if I was to go run troll 60, I can go higher than 60 now, but it makes things a whole lot easier. Again, that's not going to be available to me in ANB. It's just been a very lucky drop on this character, as I'm just sort of preparing the account for heroes to come. That Wind Spirit just did a lot of damage because the Fire Lily's boosting that as well now. So suddenly I can run things a whole lot quicker than I could, which is why I wanted to share what I was doing and what I was thinking about for ANB. Oh, didn't see them at all. So that makes those Troll 60 a lot quicker. I have run Troll 80 now with this character. That's still relatively slow. And as well, because of that Fire Lily, it means I can also semi-efficiently gold farm now. What I'm doing with trial drops is just regular epics and legendaries. I'm saving them up until I've got 16 of them. I'm doing the same with any tier of set unique items, which I don't think we've got any here. So I can do a bulk salvage to maximise the materials that I get out of that. So Let's just salvage these blues. I had been saving up all the blues as well, but we're in a position that I'm not bothered about those anymore. So for raising crafting level, the way that I'm going about that, doing this, trying to get between 1 and 2 levels a day. So I'm initially just basic cloth armor, normal caps. I probably did this in the last video, to be honest. Hasten experience, I'm using air and fire because we're going to get more back than we put in overall. Not necessarily on lessers, but with essences and potentially a few greater essences. Especially if we get higher level items coming out. So 16 of those. We've had a couple of 20s, there's a 22 in there, some 21s. So when we salvage that, we'll get back more essences than we put in, but fewer silk. And thanks to, I can't remember who wrote it on the one of the comments, if I'm running low on silk, which you can see I'm clearly not at the moment, I've been dropping back to uncommon and going all the way back to level 6. I haven't been getting back as many essences, so I've just switched to water. Fill out a stack of, or a page full of these, so we're going to use up 16 bolts of silk in doing this. And these are only 89 gold per craft. So whilst this is quite a tedious process, although I've just used 16 bolts of silk, I will get 32 back when I salvage. So I can double the number of silk by going at level 6 greens. So at one stage I think I was down to about 40 silk, and then I did that in one big session to get a few levels, and got myself back to 2000 silk. Obviously I've crafted things that's gone down with season in play and various chests and materials coming out of those. It's made these balances very healthy anyway, so I don't think I need to drop down to level 6 for some time, but I did take this from about 40 or 50 all the way up to 2000, just crafting level 6 greens and having that double every time. Also, because I think last time I showed some very slow gold farm runs, now that we've got the fire lily, our gold farming gear, which is most, unfortunately there's a lot of apprentice gear in here. Don't really, that's an experienced one, isn't it? So although I've got a lot of apprentice gear with, which is giving us crit rating, which isn't necessarily that good, most of these are drops. That was a exceptionally lucky craft. So my gold farming stats come out at, although we've got low haste and low ability rate, extra gold is in a position where I can semi-efficiently farm gold as well, which is, I used a 100% booster in Darkhold Citadel and I got over 3 million gold. Let's not do that. You'll see I've made an additional glory unlock, so we'll talk about that briefly. So I can throw in Death from Above for a second shatter, although it has to be quick because we don't have Northern Wind up for long. Let's talk about glory after a gold run. Normal. Nope. So I am now in the position, thanks to that fire lily dropping, that I can... The character doesn't move particularly fast. In fact, I probably could have done two, but I can now kill everything with a single shatter. So they're able to do a semi-efficient gold farming run. So I was happy to use a single 100% booster for that, which means that I will have plenty of gold for crafting and getting a crafting level up, plus purchase crafting recipe whenever we have one up for refresh. So on the glory front, the very first item that I unlocked was not in there. It wasn't even in there, it was a trinket. So the very first thing that was unlocked was the Vial of Wind Spirit. If I'd been going into ANB with no glory whatsoever and nothing unlocked, the first glory arrives at level 70, and this Vial of Wind Spirit probably isn't the best choice at that stage. I would have gone with the Frostfire Sash. But since I've got glory outside of ANB, I initially got the Vial of Wind Spirit, then I went and got the Frostfire Sash, and because I then completed level 20 in the last season, that gave me another 20 glory, so I was able to unlock Talisman of Storms. Since we have another season that's started, I've earned 30 glory, of which I've unlocked the Sash of the Igniter. Reason for that is it's going to help this character run around and do 5-star story maps now, at higher difficulties than just normal, which was never an original intention. So I can make use of sort of setting them on fire and using thermal shocks now, which is why I've gone with, on my EXP fire on the main account, I've gone with fire damage across the board, but I want to focus the amount of thermal shock damage that comes out. So I've got frost damage on these, where I have added a damage type, so that boosts the amount of thermal shock, which is considerably more damage than Death from Above does. So potentially I've got that wrong in the past in putting fire on Death from Above builds. It certainly works very well, having that thermal shock, so that's what I'm doing there. I have got 20 glory, so the next item that I want to unlock is going to be an enchanting recipe for the weapon, and I want Slayer ready. That is 20 glory. I'll be able to use this eventually to cause, when that does proc on a boss, particularly higher bosses, and we're going to hit those eventually with this character or this account. It'll be nice to have this available straight away, so that's the next unlock. Quite a few of these probably aren't going to see any use in the next ANB, but that's where I want to go with that one. I need to have a think about what I'm aiming to unlock next. Bracer Mastery is the last thing that I'm concerned with. It will either be a Talisman of Power or trying to get the Fire Lily unlocked. Either way, neither. I could go with Talisman of Power, since I'm almost level 20, so another 20 glories coming in soon. And then it's just a case of saving up initially for Fire Lily and then for Bracelet of Mastery. So this character has progressed a lot further than I ever intended, but she'll continue running the 5 daily quests to get us 100 gems per day. Since I have the abilities for double shatters, I can run story maps a bit quicker now, so 5-staring those is probably going to happen as well, and carry on raising the crafting level, which I will make a separate video about, because someone's given me a very good idea for that. So I think this probably is the last Zero to Hero now for reals until ANB Silver 9 starts. So any questions or comments, feel free to put them down below, and thank you very much for watching.